Isolation Nation. Show number 1, we launched and we had an audience worldwide of millions. Now, okay, well, maybe it wasn't millions. It's hard to calculate. Hundreds of thousands. So, okay, a couple of dozen. Fine. Are you happy now? But make no mistake, we were near perfect.
I would say use social media to your advantage.
So, yeah, I thought you were finished. And the spelling, at least, was near perfect. I mean, who says that psychologist has to have 2 O's? And the host, all business.
Hey, good job stealing this from the neighbor.
As show 1 guest 1, after turning down Oprah Winfrey, DeMar DeRozan, Demi Lovato, our patience paid off with our number 1 choice, Jennifer Hedger, who came out ready to go.
I'm on Isolation Nation. We are a nation in isolation.
And Hedges' performance had a certain comedian watching, paying attention, and, well...
It's a nation in isolation. It's a difficult situation.
Since then, 23 shows, 48 guests, 12 appearances by Wrigley. Oh, so now he's got my glasses. There's the script. It's Isolation Nation today. And, well, we set the tone for kindness right from the get-go.
If we're a little rough, too fucking bad. No one's getting paid here.
I think best of all, though, it's the respect that we pay our guests. Love this guy, dear friend Kelly Hrudi.
What did you say?
Dear friend Kelly Hrudi?
Did I hear an H?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you hear an H? Hrudey. Kelly Hrudi. And you know what, best of all, we've never deviated, we've never changed. This is the way my hair looked on show number 1. And look at my hair now, it looks exactly the same, and it only takes, even a month later, a little bit of work. Hello, can we get a little more product for my hair? It's been 2 months. Isolation Nation, show 24 with the return of Jennifer Hedger starts now.
And there she is, Hedge. How are ya?
Hi, I was hoping I wasn't wearing the same shirt as I did last time.
Yeah, well, try doing 5 of them a week.
Dude, I know.
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way, on this being a success. And thanks for having me back for a check-in.
Are you going to sing it all for us?
Would you like me to?
I would, but I'm going to inspire you, not with my singing, but with Sean Cullen singing, because he wrote a little something for you. Why don't we roll it right now?
Please.
Phil, roll Sean Cullen singing Isolation Nation, Jennifer Hedger verse.
Yes, and Jennifer Hedger keeps us up on the sports ledger. She can sing, she can drink, she'll make you smile, she'll make you think, yeah. It's a nation in isolation, such a difficult situation. It's a nation in isolation, what a bad time for an oral fixation, yeah. Oral fixation, yeah. Isolation. Take it away, Michael. Please.
Oral fixation.
Yeah.
Oh, that was very good. I don't like being shown up, but I do not mind being shown up by Sean Cullen. That was very well done.
Sean has done something for us like almost every day. I think you can hear Damon Allen laughing. We'll get to Damon in a second. But who could not laugh at that? It's just his facial movements and expressions are just so
and
fun.
Hedger rhymed with ledger. Who would have thought that you could make that work? And it works beautifully.
You know what? who thought? So here's what. Hey, Dame, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. You hang right in there, unless you think you got something more important to say than Hedger, and then we'll go to you right now.
And then I'll have to leave.
Okay. Well, with that threat pending. Yeah. So you're look at you laughing and having fun. Does that mean that you're laughing and having fun in your own head, or is this a little bit putting on a show for giving people what you think they want to see in you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Nobody wants to know how people really feel. I mean, you say, how are you? And you want to hear that I'm doing great and everything's cool. But I think if anyone remembers from the last time we spoke, I sort of was predicting the fact that I was feeling like I might be sliding downhill. And unfortunately, my prediction was right. I have felt all those things that I was fearing. We've been a month now after we spoke for the first time. And all those things I said that I was doing that was making me feel really good, like going running and exercising and making sure that I keep up with my workouts. I just simply do not have the energy to do it. I don't feel like it anymore. I've been sleeping a lot lately, which I wasn't doing at the beginning. I feel like I always just want a nap. I'm irritable. I just had all the things that I was doing at first, like homeschooling my son and getting the groceries and getting dinner together and taking care of the house and all the things that were filling my day. I just don't have the same sort of enthusiasm for them. It all feels like drudgery. I have trouble concentrating. I cried today, which is not a usual thing for me, but it's become a usual thing lately. And why did I cry? Well, the milk jug had a slow leak in it, and it was leaking all over the fridge last night. And the fridge was full of milk this morning. So I opened it up and had to clean out the fridge. That's not really worth crying about. And I know there's the whole spilt milk thing, but it was like, it just felt like is there anything else that could go wrong for me today? It's freaking milk in the fridge, but it felt so devastating. And I just feel like I have those feelings a lot now, and I recognize it. I know what it is. I know that it's depression telling me lies. But I spend all day long arguing with myself in my own head, trying to tell myself it's okay. You're not failing your family. You're not failing yourself. You're doing the best you can. But I don't believe myself. You know.
Sorry, I'm just a little shaken up about the milk.
Don't even. But here's the thing too, there, Mr. I don't believe you.
I believe every word you said. I will even add to that it's like, first of all, you predicted all of this.
I predicted
you said it on, it was April the 1st. And you said, I'm doing okay now, but I'm really worried that I'm going to spiral down, and all of the things that I'm doing that make me be pretty good right now, I'm probably going to stop doing. And I think the thing that people who've never been through this, what they wouldn't understand is, if you know what's good for you, why can't you do it? And I don't ask you that question based on my own experience, because I know I've been in a position where I haven't done the things that were good for me. But I think you need to try to explain it.
I would explain it in that for right now, it's a physical effort thing. So like getting out and going for a run right now would make me feel so good after I do it. But the idea of getting my workout clothes on and getting out there and actually doing it is a hill that I couldn't imagine trying to climb, considering I also am going to make dinner for my family, which is going to take all the energy that I have, and also pretend to my son over dinner that everything's great, everything's fine. That all takes a lot of energy. The other thing that I thought would make me feel really good was going back to work. I remember we talked about, somebody asked, would you feel better if you were working? And my answer was yes. And I think I would feel better if I was going into the office every day. So here's an example though of how my mind works, the depressed, anxious mind. So tomorrow I have a rehearsal to do SportsCentre again. So I have all the equipment in my house. We've got the studio set up. I'm going to rehearse it tomorrow, so that I can, like, quote unquote, get back to work and get hosting SportsCentre. And I have convinced myself I will not be able to do it. I will blow it. I suck. I can't host SportsCentre. I've hosted SportsCentre for 17 years. And I've also hosted it remotely across the country multiple times. And not once did we fail. Not once did we never get to air. And not once did I ever screw up so much that somebody had to tell me something that I did. And yet I have no faith in myself that I'm going to be able to do a rehearsal tomorrow, let alone actually host a SportsCentre. Yeah. And it's ridiculous. It's irrational, right? It's totally irrational. And until that rehearsal tomorrow, I'm going to be going it over in my head over and over and over and trying to convince myself that I don't suck, and it'll all work out. But the mental gymnastics that I go through to just get through the day is so frustratingly, I don't even have a word for it. Do you have a word for it? You know what it is, Michael?
Yeah, I do. And I also know that that feeling of hearing this voice in your head telling you that you are going to suck. I mean, Casey is sitting like, I don't know, 5 feet away from me. She's heard me say it a million times. Karen has heard me say it a million times, where I'll say, oh my gosh, I got to give a speech today and I don't feel well. And I'm just convinced that I'm going to get up on stage and I'm going to suck. And it's not that I'm concerned that it may happen. I know it's going to happen, yet I'm 100% sure it's not going to happen because it's never really happened. I mean, I know when in my mind I might be crappy, but it's hard for other people to know that. So it's this fictitious story that your brain tells you, and unfortunately, it takes the joy out of, like in your case, going back to do SportsCentre. Like it takes the joy out of it.
It's almost like. I mean, again, that's with depression, right? You're always like, well, things will be better tomorrow. Things will be better when I'm on vacation. Things will be better when the pandemic's over. There's always like that marker, that moving target that you're always getting toward. And for me, it was like, well, things will get better once I'm finally back on air, and once I'm working again, things will get better. And right now, I'm hoping I come down with COVID so I don't have to work next week. Like it's a ridiculous thing to not want to go to work now when that's all I've wanted. And the other thing I was going to tell you about, Michael, is so being someone who I don't like being around people. I would much rather be by myself, and people are always like, well, that's weird. You're in such a social circumstance. But this whole pandemic has been like, all right, all of us recluses, we get to just stay home alone, and I'm not supposed to be anywhere. So now my new nemesis are these freaking Zoom meetings and house party meetings. I am now like crashing out and not showing up for Zoom meetings because I don't want to see people, because I can't imagine putting on the mask and sitting in front of my camera and pretending like everything's cool. And whether it's whatever the device is, whatever the technology is that we're all using to stay connected, is my nemesis right now.
It's honestly, like you've heard me say this before, what a fan I am of yours and your ability to communicate and to say things that have lived in my head. But it's kind of like you're the female version of me, younger, but still, I am reclusive and I am the most sociable person in the world. I'll go into the airport and I'll sit down with people and I'll talk to them. Yet when I come home, I'll lie on the couch and not want to get off. And it's not that I'm lazy, obviously. Yeah. It's just that, I don't know, it's this illness that is the antisocial illness. Okay, well, let's talk to Damon Allen, who probably thinks we're all messed up. He's
going,
can
really
I catch this crap
yes
from those guys?
Yeah.
How are you, Damon?
Woo, man, I tell you, hearing your story, and I mean, you're not alone. There's a lot of people out there that at times allow fear to creep in. I would assume that sometimes it's fear that will allow people not to believe that they can do it or pursue something. And so, you guys are not alone. I think when you're dealing with this COVID in the first 3 weeks, it was cool. Like, man, I get to stay at home. But as the longer it has went on, now people are want to get out of the house. And they're not used to staying at home for this duration of time. And so a lot of things creep in from, what kind of work, all the worries of life that we have to deal with, not only coming out of this quarantine, but okay, am I going to have a job at the end of the day? Or, all those things that you desire to do when you want to take care of your family, when you're out of the house and you're working. At times you don't worry about those things, but now, because of the state of this crisis, people are losing their jobs. We don't know if the financial economic of this world will switch and change, and we don't know, what's going to happen in the future. And so that causes people to worry a little bit more than they have to. And sometimes those things you can't I try not to put onus on the things I really can't control either. So that's that fine line between, worrying and, still believing and being progressive and growing as an individual. And when we have struggles, I never look them as struggles. I look them as challenges. And then, how do I look at these challenges and what kind of attitude I have to deal with these challenges also helps as well for me.
So, Hedge, jump in with a question if you want. I got the first one, okay? Don't mow my lawn on this one. People will go, oh my God, he's giving up all the power to Jennifer Hedger. I mean, she's great, and I can understand why. But, one of the things with you, Damon, is, well, let's start with this, or let's move on to this. How are you doing? You talked about how people are, and you realized, listening to Hedger and I speak about our stories, but, how are you doing in what many people would say, without a doubt, the most difficult time that we as a society have gone through probably since 1945?
Yeah, it's very difficult, but for me, the nature of the position that I played, I was always taught that you have to be cool and calm under pressure, and so I try to maintain that even in the crisis that we're in right now. I remember the first week during this quarantine, I found myself, eating a lot, just eating, just throughout the whole day. Not necessarily bad things, but the first week, it might have been some bad things because you're talking about chips and sodas and all those different things. I realized I started to, put on a little pounds within that week. And then I had to start to, I got to rethink this. I can't spend 24 hours just eating, nitpicking, and throughout the whole day, even though I have to quarantine. And so I started to look at, the mind, body, and spirit. We all heard that those categories, mind, body, soul, or mind, body, spirit. We heard that before. So I started to intertwine these things into my daily life during the quarantine. So I started to break them up in categories and say, okay, what I'm going to work on today, my mind, what book I'm going to read, what I'm going to learn, and those things. And then, I do it with my body, and then I do it the spiritual side, because I believe that, humans are made up of blood, water, and spirit. And so I spend time in the spirit realm, in that aspect. And that really has allowed me to, I think, in a sense, keep me balanced, and allow me to, chew up some of my time as well. Because otherwise, if I didn't do this, I'd probably still be putting on pounds, not doing much, because, they want you to stay inside. And so, I had to start put together a plan for myself, because otherwise, I'm at that stage too, where you start to see the daylight at the end of the tunnel. And now I want to be out. But in the meantime, I still got to, maintain the patience that it takes to allow, the situation that we're in to take care of itself. But, I'm antsy too. I'm starting to get antsy as well. But those are the things I had to equate to keep myself sound, insane, and balanced. And
Damon, I think about when you're talking about your position and playing quarterback, and how, your own mindset with your body, mind, spirit. Would you consider yourself a perfectionist? I feel like quarterbacks are sort of that control freak personality, always want to be in charge, don't ever like to make a mistake. Would you say that is your personality?
Yes, because I think a lot of times the nature of the position that we play, we're taught the big picture, not necessarily the individual that you play. We're taught, from blocking schemes to routes to the whole essence of the system. Mm-hmm. And so for me I look at big picture, and I see it in such a way, even during this COVID. And at the same time, I'm an introvert. I enjoy my alone time and being by myself and those things. That's why, when I play golf, I can go out there and play with two elderly women, and they'll tell me go on, just go on. I know we're slowing you down. I'm like, no, I'm just enjoying this time out here. And so, yes, I have the ability, as you see me, to be at a party and enjoy myself, because I understand the nature of being around people and making people feel good, and knowing to be around people that really enjoy life makes it easier as well. But by nature, I'm an introvert, and I enjoy my quiet time because it allows me to reflect on my own life, the things that I'm doing, the things I want to change. If I'm going in a direction that may not be pleasing to myself or my family or, the Most High God, and I try to keep it simple, I guess, in a sense.
I feel like you have found like some sort of a Zen perfect balance. I've been watching the Bulls documentary with the Zen master there, Phil Jackson, and kind of a little bit of what you say. And the reason why I ask you about the perfectionist thing and the control thing is that I find for me, the lack of control right now is very difficult. Like not having any control over when is this going to end? When are we going to get back to normal? What, when there's no control right now. And I find that to be really hard to deal with. You say that you like to have control as well, but you seem like you found a nice balance between acceptance and wanting to have control.
I think part of it is because there's certain things that is out of your hands. And so I choose not to focus on those things. But the things I can control is how I wake up every day. The things that I do, what comes in and out of my consciousness and my mindset to allow me to either feel bad or feel great, and those things. And so I try to, dive within myself, because the things that we can change, we can really, if you have the ability to dig deep within yourself and look at the things that you don't like about yourself, and then really work really extremely hard to try to change those things, right? Then you become a better version of yourself, because it's so much easier for us to, as an individual person, to look at someone else and say, oh, I know what they need to do.
It's harder to look at yourself and see it. Yeah.
But the difficult thing is to look deep into yourself and see the things you want to change, and then you put forth the effort into making those changes in yourself, because ultimately that will make you a better person. And then you also don't worry what decisions are going to be made during those times, because it's out of your hands anyway, right? Because you just find yourself at a standstill waiting for someone else to make the decision on what you want to do. And by that time, you could have got better. You could have been training. You could have been working, preparing yourself, or spending time with your children, and not worry about those things. And so for me, which can be easier due to the fact because I'm not with my family. My family's in California, so I got to have a different kind of communication with them. But when I'm by myself, I think it's easier to really control what goes on with yourself. But with you or anybody else who has to deal with the family, you're not working right now. So now all your time, your 24/7 is your family. And that might be something that you may not be used to doing because of your job and your work. But now you full blown in it, and you just realize how difficult that is, right? To necessary work, not only to take care of your children, but your husband and all those things. And so that might be a whole different kind of challenge for you, that could make you feel that way, and myself as well. So I'm pretty sure if I had my kids here and my wife, and I'm concerned about providing and taking care, I think I would be, quite busy if I had my son and my girls and all those things. So yeah, I can understand what you're going through, but at the same time, I think just focus on you getting yourself healthy, because if you're not healthy, it's hard to take care of someone else.
We got a couple of questions here. Do you hear that buzzing noise, or did I pass out from the length of time that you guys answered those questions in? I don't know. You. I could be in an alternate universe. I don't know. This first one actually is congratulations, Damon. Hedges' answer was 4.5 minutes, and you topped it with your first answer. So, you know what? Good for you. Like, you're so competitive. You went out there and said, I'm going to go longer than she did. But here's one for you. I didn't
try to, but there is this really, really serious question. That's a really serious question, and it doesn't take an easy answer.
It's true. What do you do? Why don't you grab this one, Hedge? I'm having a hard time being irritable That's new to me. Any hints on how to deal with it? You mentioned that you are, I don't know if you used irritable, but it was something in that area.
Irritable, agitated, constantly. Well, the easiest thing to do is to say, you just got to like step away for a second. Like instead of snapping on everybody in your family, you got to take a moment and realize it's not them, it's you. You know, it's not the dog, it's not your son, it's not your husband, it's not the kid, it's not the milk, it's not the fridge, it's you. So I don't have a magic answer to that. I try and just remind everybody that it's not them, it's me, and take a moment before I snap. But that's a hard one.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to have an answer for these questions, because what's making this person irritable probably is the situation that they're forced to be in, and you can't change the situation. We had a great show yesterday with Director X, who was talking about what he thinks is a really important way to go about treating yourself with this, and that is with meditation. So much so, he was talking about how they go into prisons and they find that people who've committed violent crimes almost always come from backgrounds where they have been abused or ill-treated or not loved, and it's changed the makeup of their brain. And he was talking about how meditation can return your brain to a better position. And I'd never heard anything like that before, but it certainly, I think people need something, because when you do the same thing every day and you struggle, you start to feel hopeless, right? I mean, you start to go like, I don't know what to do.
Well, and running was like that for me, because that was where I would like think, right? It's like you're in your own head and you're thinking. And I felt like that was sort of meditative. But Damon, you strike me as a guy who might meditate. Do you meditate?
Yes, I do. I do pray and fast as well.
And fast. And what is that?
So, I mean, that's
is that a
form
centering
of meditation
for you? Yeah.
Say it again.
Is it like does it like clear your head? Does it like get you back to, like, is it a centering thing? Like, what would you say that meditation does for you?
It relaxes you. It gives you that
relaxes.
Pause. Yeah, it relaxes, it pauses, and then all of a sudden you're taking all your cares and giving it to the Creator, or like I said, if it's a spiritual or Creator, you believe in the Most High God and those things, you're giving all your cares to Him, and I think that's the aspect that you're the positive.
Whether it's a religious thing or yoga or what have you, it's
that's
recognizing them and then somehow being able to put them somewhere else.
Yeah, Hedge, I want you to, we'll talk about it afterwards, but what X, that's what we call each other, because
you guys are like this.
Yeah, we both came from the hip hop community and the hip hop world. I'm a product of basically the same environment, so yeah.
Absolutely.
But what he said made a lot of sense, and I think it would apply to both you and I. I got a couple more questions for you, Dame. Thanks for doing this, man. Damon, you got a show. Tell me about your show.
Yes, I actually started a Instagram live show called The Whole 9 Yards. The Whole 9 Yards is basically means we want every aspect of the life. We want everything. And so, but that's also the name of my book when I finish it, The Whole 9 Yards. And so I'm going on my 6th episode.
Great. And you put guests on the show, I would imagine.
I put guests on this show, and I'm actually leading up to the point where I have my brother on, and I'm looking at Ronnie Lott, a lot of sports people and different backgrounds, because a very interesting journey of these athletes. And so it's pretty neat to learn about what they've been able to accomplish.
Very cool. Good to talk to you, man.
See you, Damon.
I look forward to doing it again in the near future. Really appreciate your time.
Always.
Damon Allen, 4-time Grey Cup champion. The only one that really counted, let's face it, he's still listening, was 2004, because that's when he won the Grey Cup for the Toronto Argonauts. The rest were meaningless as far as I'm concerned. Hedge.
Yes.
So what I'm wondering is, because I'm listening to your story, and then I'm listening to you ask questions to Damon. I think that we should talk about having you do some interviews for us, because you have so much to offer in this area, and I think it'd be really good, because it's one of the few places that are ultimately safe. Right? When you go back to do SportsCentre, you're not going to start off by saying, "Oh God, I've been struggling so badly. Oh my gosh, I'm going to suck so bad here. I haven't been able to jog."
Do I have the waterproof mascara on? Because I have been in a pool of tears all day.
Wait a sec. Is there a problem with the milk again? Oh my God, no.
Exactly.
But if you're in this kind of position, like, not only can you introduce the subject and your guest by saying, like, it's been a really hard time for me, and I've had, bumps on my road, and I've had really difficult times, and this is a really difficult time. Not only can you do that, but you should do that, because that's empowering for other people. And it brings, the more you expose of yourself, the more somebody else exposes of themselves. So, I think we should talk about that, because I think you would be amazing.
Well, we can talk about that. I think of that as being, well, I can't do that. Nobody wants to listen to me do that. I've already said too much.
Okay, let's do this. Why don't you now? Why don't you ask me now? I'll give you fast answers, because we don't have long. But ask me some questions.
Okay. When's the last time you cried?
I have not cried since I would say probably when my dog died, when Brando died.
Okay.
The problem is I'm on medication, right? And medication is the anti-cry thing. Like, there's times when, because of the nature of what we do, and I'm in a lot of places talking to a lot of people with a lot of sad stories, and almost always they're telling me the story that I know I would be crying at if I wasn't on meds. So now I got to fake it, right? Because I don't want to just be going, "Oh yeah, really? Oh, that sucks."
Someone get the onions. Exactly. Yeah. Do you feel, though, because I have someone close to me is on a new medication for depression, and I would say it has sort of dulled their personality in that, and all, to a point in that this person doesn't think to, like, ask a question like, "How are you?" when someone says, "How are you?" Good. And then that's it. There's not this sense of, like, "How are you?" back. It's almost like dulled the personality. Do you feel that?
I feel a dulling of my emotions. So my range of emotions, instead of being, I don't want to be out of the shot, because well, where is his hand? I need to see the distance between his hand. But if this is, let's say this is what you are at, what I was at before medication, and before depression. So now I'd start taking the pill, and I start feeling better, and I'm starting to feel better. And I feel like, you know what, I can manage my depression. But here I am now, and all of this space is the really good stuff in life, which I can't feel. And all of this is the really bad stuff in life, which I don't want to feel. So it's a trade-off, and it's a trade-off that I'm willing to make. But it's also one that it does come with a cost, like people talk about illnesses and giving things up to their illness. And, I never play this card. I never say, because I don't want to be the poor me guy. I want to talk about what I've experienced, and you could draw your own conclusions. But medicine has forced me to give up a part of life that I wish I didn't have to give up, but I don't have any choice.
Yeah, that is an awesome, excellent way of describing it. I have not heard it or seen it described that way in this box, but that is exactly how it feels. Perfectly stated.
So for me, I can still be me I can't be me when I'm depressed.
No.
So the worst thing for me is, because it's this illness that feeds into itself. So it gains strength because of itself. So this illness drags me down. And so I'm feeling down. I'm not able to experience joy, all of the things that go with that. And it also robs me of being me. And now I start to get upset that I can't be me. And I start to feel guilty that I can't be the guy who's making other people smile. And that makes me more depressed. So this cycle actually works against me constantly. And I find it really difficult to get out of.
How do you do this every day, Michael? Because so you emailed me last night. I saw the email. You're like, "Can you be on my show tomorrow?" And I was like, I can't even make a Zoom meeting right now. And now I'm going to go on Michael's show. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do it because someone's going to hear me. And just, if somebody hears me and says, "Man, that sounds like me," then good. I shared, and somebody else saw themselves in me, and awesome. And I'll feel better after I talk to you. But I couldn't imagine getting up every day and trying to find guests for this and get it locked down. And then you got to talk to us for 15 minutes before the show, small talk, blah, blah, blah. And then you do it. How is it that like yesterday you didn't just get up and go, you know what? F it. I don't want to do it today. I've got all these people depending on me to get it done, and I don't want to do it. I'm shutting it down. What makes you not do that?
Wow. You know, do you realize though, and you don't realize, like, how would you, I'll answer your question, but I'm way more interested in you than I am in me. But how would you rate your performance on this show just now? I don't mean like performance, like, you know, did you have the appropriate amount of energy? Did you work the camera? I'm not talking about performance like that, but the content of what you said. You know, would you say that I'm
6.5, 6.5?
Yeah, you see, I guarantee you that Casey is sitting beside me. Phil is the guy that you would have heard in your ear before. Mark Milliere is watching and listening and speaking in my ear from time to time. I guarantee you that they will say that's a 9.5 for sure, like without a doubt. And that is an example of your illness talking to you and preventing you from the satisfaction that should come from a job well done. And I do think that this is something, this is an area that you're really suited for, because, you know, if I was having the kind of day that you described, I could go on the air and say, hey, folks, welcome to Isolation Nation. Why are we here? We're here because we want people to have a place to be able to turn and watch and realize that they're not alone. Well, I need to realize that too. You know, I'm a patient and a host, so I'm assuming dual positions. I think that for you, it would be so liberating because it's the one place where you get to be honest. And just so you know, I'm not suggesting when SportsCentre restarts that you get on the air and you start going, oh.
Yeah, let's be real here, everybody. Yeah, who really no, I know it's not. Yeah, well, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should.
You are. It's so unfair that you can't see you the way we all see you, because we all see you as being freaking amazing. I was going to say fucking amazing, but then I thought, it's kind of tacky, you know. So, by the way, hey, Phil, why don't you roll it? It's Mitch Marner's going to be on the show tomorrow.
I saw that.
How cool is that?
2 days.
Times
and
two.
He's bringing his dog.
Yeah, and so am I. Take a look. Roll it, Phil.
On the show Wednesday, Thursday, your favorite Toronto Maple Leaf ever.
Matt Sundin?
No, a current Maple Leaf, not Matt Sundin.
Zach Hyman?
Not Zach Hyman.
Oh, Mitch Marner.
Hey, folks, Michael Landsberg here.
Hey, guys, it's Mitch Marner.
Is he bringing the dog?
I'm here with Wrigley.
I'm here with Zeus.
Okay, Riggs, you know Zeus does tricks, right?
Big deal. The dog can't play defense. Look at this. Falls for the same fake every time.
Down. Roll over. Roll over. Roll over. Good boy.
Okay, I'm impressed. Anything else?
Okay, are you and Zeus got any plans for the near future? Because we want you on the show.
Isolation Nation, baby.
That's me and ML and Mitch and Zeus on Isolation Nation Wednesday and Thursday, where I kick Zeus's ass.
That's a lie.
How did you teach Wrigley to speak?
Well, you know, it's her third dog. And, you know, you get better at it. And
what a smart poppers that is. That was really cute. And I am a bigger fan of Mitch. I've always been a fan of Mitch, but I'm a bigger fan of Mitch knowing that he's got a dog.
You know, and also knowing that, you know, in researching that, I went onto his Twitter page.
Yeah.
And like,
look at you doing all your research, eh?
I know. And by the way, thanks for mentioning the fact that, you know, I wake up and, you know, it's hard to do this job and I'm booking all the guests. You left off the 4 hours of radio every day, but don't worry about that, Hedge. Come on.
The radio does itself. I mean,
that's true.
You know, that's just easy stuff.
Okay. So hold on one sec. So I found that he had done, you know, like in the last 2 weeks, he had to have done a dozen different charitable things where, you know, where he's being interviewed. He's really, really community minded. And there's not a lot of guys like that.
Yeah. That Instagram video that he sent out playing roller hockey in his front I watched that and I was like, you can see the cars going by, and those cars, people are driving by that house and no idea that that's one of the best hockey players in the world right there in his parents' driveway playing with his dog right now, which I thought was kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. This is what Casey just wrote for me. Can you read this?
Oh no. Yes, I can. Don't make me cry. Okay. That is really sweet. I need to see that today. Thank you. Thanks for saying that.
Okay. I'm trying to make you cry now. Just so you know.
No, don't.
No, because that's an okay kind of tears, right? You know, it was pretty funny though, the whole spilled milk thing. Can you hold on one sec? My dad is calling. My dad is in Sunnybrook Hospital, and Case, will you get it? I'm hoping that he's going to get out. He tested negative for COVID, which obviously is a good thing. He had some heart problems, but you talk about a difficult situation. He went into the hospital about 4 a.m. on Sunday morning. And I wasn't like freaked out. I knew that it probably was maybe heart related. I didn't think he was having a heart attack, but I couldn't go see him. And my dad's short-term memory is terrible. So here he is, he's in the hospital, and he doesn't know where I am.
Remember why he's there. Yeah.
It was horrible. God, I felt so terrible. But having said that, I'm hoping that in about, what's going on? We're hoping that he's getting sprung. So.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's everything is perspective, right? I try and keep perspective. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I have a home. We're going to get through this.
Yeah. I was going to write something down and hold it up and be a smartass, but that's okay. We don't need to. Hedge, thanks. People do love you. When I say they love you, they don't love you because they don't know you, but they don't think
they don't think I suck.
They don't think you suck. And they love, I mean, you're a hugely talented broadcaster, but they love the fact that you can speak from your heart and soul. And not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of people can put into words what they feel. So you're pretty special like that. And I'm going to, as soon as we click off, don't go anywhere because I want to talk to you. And I want to say thanks for being awesome.
Okay. I'll stick around.
Okay.
Bye.
Were you crying before, by the way?
No,
yeah, I think I saw some tears. We're going to go to the replay. Well, let's go to the replay. We'll see you tomorrow on IN. See how I abbreviated that? Isolation Nation.
Like OTR.
Yeah. Are we getting canceled too? Roll it, Phil.